Get ready to shop Lowe's Black Friday Doorbuster deals to save $150 on a 30-inch Blackstone griddle, now $299. Plus, choose a Whirlpool top-load washer or Midea top freezer refrigerator for just $398. These limited-time Doorbuster deals go fast, so get holiday ready today at Lowe's. We help, you save. Valid 11/28 through 12/1. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. See Lowe's.com for more details.
The best TV comes in many forms, from real-life mysteries to blockbuster dramas, family favorites, and buzzworthy reality shows. Philo makes it easy to stream them all with one simple, affordable subscription. For just $33 a month, Philo offers more than 70 live channels, including favorites like AMC, A&E, MTV, Discovery, and Nickelodeon, plus on-demand TV like the entire AMC Plus library. Whatever the mood, there's always something new to uncover. Philo subscribers also get access to HBO Max Basic with ads and Discovery Plus at no extra cost, along with unlimited DVR that saves shows for up to a year. No long contracts, no complicated setup, just endless entertainment ready to stream anytime. Ready for a better way to bundle all the TV you love? Get started at philo.tv. That's PHILO.tv. Your next obsession is waiting.
Yeah, what's happening? We about to bring that action. Gotta hold it down for my Seattle Kraken. Hey, we going beneath the waves. We going beneath the waves. Get it hype, step onto the ice. Ready for some action. Release the Kraken. Hey, we going beneath the waves. Going beneath the waves.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Beneath the Waves podcast, your weekly recap of all things Seattle hockey and beyond. I am Matt.
I'm Alex.
And I'm Derek. And before we start today's show, we wanted to shout out BTW's own Heather as she continues diligently covering the Seattle Torrent. She just published an article on the Hockey News Women's covering their inaugural home opener at Climate Pledge that broke the attendance record for a U.S. women's hockey game and for home PWHL games. Her article breaks down the first home game for the Torrent, and you can continue to find her articles as a resource to stay up to date with everything Seattle Torrent as they approach their third game of their first ever 30-game season in the PWHL. Now that the season is in full swing, go follow her over at Heather Nicole with no E, and you can find the link to her articles in our show notes below. Back to you, Matt.
Derek, you were at that game. I'm sure it might come up later in the shovel stories, but what was that inaugural game experience like?
Oh man, it was unreal. Heather writes about it in her article, but even the player announcements, notably, Mara Wagner and then also Hillary Knight, the crowd was just unreal. And I'll just say one more thing about the crowd, that I worked the Kraken playoff games, and I'm not even kidding. It was similar atmosphere to that. Like anytime the Torrent would even leave their defensive zone, it was like when there's like a 2-on-1 at a Kraken game. It was unreal. Like people were super loud. It was the loudest that building's been in a long time.
Awesome. I love that. Hopefully that keeps up. They'll be back in CPA sooner than we know it, I'm sure. And yeah, fingers crossed that they can find their groove and start getting some awesome results. And we look forward to hearing all of those things from Heather very, very soon. For us over here, it is episode 47 of the BTW pod. On this week's episode, we're going to catch up on the last week of games. We'll check in on all of the Kraken news, and we will preview the week ahead. But as we always kick off about this time, it is time to money puck around and find out. Alex, it wasn't a great week for us, but what does that mean for our money puck wheel standings?
Well, it's not good. It's not bad. We still have a passing grade. We're not getting those C's. We're kind of skimming by, we're skimming by the hair of our teeth here. We got a D. It doesn't even work. We're gonna no, that's not even a saying. We're gonna go back.
Why are your teeth hairy?
I don't know, dude. I'm tired. Okay,
What's
we're going
hair,
back.
hair to what? Did he say his teeth is hairy?
He said we got by the hair of our teeth, but it's the skin of our teeth.
Wait, there's no skin on your teeth either.
Yeah, we'll just go back.
Wait, what is that? What does the skin one even mean?
Dude, I don't know. It came out, and
Okay,
I have my own.
Let's go with hair. I like hair better.
Alrighty. Well, we're gonna go back. So in terms of our percentage, we're not great. Could be worse, but we're not as good as we were last week. Currently, the Kraken sit at a 52.3% chance of making the Stanley Cup playoffs. That's after losing 2 games this week. So we definitely have a passing grade, but it's not been, it hasn't been as good as it has been before. My thought has been primarily based that this team's offense has really been lacking, which has been quite an effect on this team. I don't know about you guys, but what are you thinking of regarding the 52.3% chance so far at this moment?
Yeah, I mean, 52.3% is pretty good, especially around the time of Thanksgiving. I'm not a super veteran NHL fan, but one of my super veteran NHL fan coworkers on the ice crew, he always talks about Thanksgiving as being like a cool indicator for teams that are going to make the playoffs. Obviously, with the Pacific and the West in general this year, things are just kind of all over the place with teams being very close in proximity with points. Edmonton and all these guys that are just hovering right around where we are too. So this year is pretty remarkable, I would say. You got Chicago with like a 30% odds to the playoffs. It's like, what is going on? I also saw that we have the same odds of winning the cup pretty much as we do of getting McKenna. So that's kind of an interesting thought. um, but I mean, I think it perfectly encapsulates where the team's at. We're kind of mid, so 52% seems about right. What about you, Matt?
Yeah, it's never good when you drop 10-ish% on your chances to move. If one of my kids dropped 10% as subject, that's grounds to call home to mom and dad to set them straight. So maybe I'll get on the horn with J-Bots and Todd Lywicki and start saying like, "Hey, your kid's got to pick it up here, or else you don't want to know, just or else." There'll be some hockey version of detention that needs to be happening or something. Or I'll break out like an old technique and have them write lines. Did you ever write lines in school? Like
Yeah.
in your notebook over and over and over again. So it'll be like, I will shoot more on the power play. I will shoot more on the power play. Maybe I'll make him do that. We'll see. But as we had just alluded to there, it was not a very good week. The record is sitting now at 11 wins, 7 losses, and 6 overtime losses after we dropped a 3-2 loss to the Dallas Stars and a 4-0 spanking to the Edmonton Oilers. In general, before we break into some specifics, how are our vibes feeling this week after what's kind of what I'm going to assume a bit of a downer?
Basically, the way you mentioned it's definitely feeling a little bit down on this week. There's been so many positive weeks over the last, couple weeks since the season began, but I think this has probably been my first or second week where I've been a little concerned about this team. I think primarily speaking, and I mentioned it before, our worry about this team was our offense, and I feel like it's slowly being, we're seeing it fall and become its own demise and its so to speak, because we can't get goals. We are one of the worst teams in the NHL, or if not the worst. So when you keep having those issues, it was bound to catch up to us eventually. Not just that, but injuries. It seems like we're just bringing in one guy and then setting off another guy to the IR. So there's just been a couple of things that's just been happening this week that it just kind of says it starts to sound. I always say sound the alarm bells. I think that's where I'm kind of at with this. It's things that we've highlighted week by week by week. And I think we're slowly starting to see that, okay, there are cracks in the foundation. We definitely need to get this resolved. If not, it could be a very long second half of the season.
Yeah, to go off what Alex was saying, I do think finishing is probably, or not probably, it is the worst part of the team right now. I do want to say we're at a 91.2 points projection as well. And we have mentioned before that this team is last in goals for and first in goals against. We're actually tied with Colorado for being first in goals against with 36 goals against, and we're last in the league, dead last with 36 goals for. So 36 goals for and 36 goals against for first and last in the league. Things are feeling very weird with that. But I mean, it really, the goaltending this year has been a far cry from what it was last year. But the defense has been pretty good, pretty solid. We've been talking about how the offense has been pretty abysmal. We'll get into some stats a little bit later that are kind of goofy with this year's offense. But you also have to take with it that this season has been a far cry from the last 2 years in the sense that we're middle of the pack. And I feel like my vibes right now are that we're graced with being able to be fans of a middle of the pack team where kind of anything can happen on any night. In the last 2 years, already at this point, it was already starting to feel like, things could get miserable pretty soon. And they were miserable at this point the last 2 years. Games just kind of becoming unwatchable. But this year, I feel like we're in a spot where we have a backbone of sorts. Like we're really good at one thing, right? We're really good at the goals against. So if we can just start to heat up, and I think there is some indicators that we will heat up with the stats I'm going to present later. We're in a spot where if we do start to heat up a little bit offensively, we have that backbone of not allowing like any goals against to get us on a run. It's really just a matter of whether we're going to see that or not this year. And it would be pretty sad if we didn't, because that Islanders game, and wait, oh, in the Edmonton game, both posting goose eggs in within three games, two of the games having 0 goals. That's just not good. I don't think it's time to sound the alarm bells though. Like Alex was saying, I think, yeah, I think we still have that good thing going with being first in goals against and last in goals for, and just being middle of the pack basically.
Yeah, I liked your point about, we get to enjoy being a middle of the pack team. I would much rather have a team where it's like a flip of the coin of what's going to happen each day, versus one where it's just like our faces getting bashed into the wall over and over and over again. To gimmick and fringe on our pals over at the Kraken Pod, they always talk about the Kraken coaster and how there's ups and downs and ups and downs. And you know what? Roller coasters can be pretty exhilarating. So we hope that we go on those ones that have crazy backflips and barrel rolls, and not like the kiddie one that just goes in a circle and is super boring and breaks down 95% of the time. You can't actually ride it. So I like that, having something to, put some stock in and brace for, and hopefully have not repeats of this week, but of the weeks we've had prior, when we get to be a little amped up, a little happy, and not just have our happiness clamped on to the money puck wheel, because I made like a personal goal to not have that dictate my mood from week to week. But it is still fun to check in on. But I am not going to let the money puck wheel dictate my mood and my life.
I will say, just on dictating mood in your life, I don't know if like people listening to this or you guys are like this, but I mean, those games where it's 0 goals for, those feel just like the worst possible thing ever. Like
Oh,
after
dude.
after the Edmonton one, I was like, this team's horrible. I needed like a day to like decompress from it.
After the Edmonton one, I was like, why did I stay up for this? Like, what a waste of my Saturday afternoon. I could have gone to Costco and done my groceries and crushed a hot dog, but instead I sat on my couch for 2.5 hours and watched a whole bunch of nothing happen on the screen. And I didn't even have to shell up money to be there. Like we talked about last season, and I think about the season before, about how the team was always winless on Saturdays. It's like you got to win those games for the kids who are able to actually go there and be there. And that was not the case yet in yesterday's game.
Yeah, those scoreless games where we just don't get anything to the net. It's definitely like sends all those like those moments back from years past where you're like, oh, we're the team from last year or we're the team from 2 years ago. And you just kind of have to give yourself a reality check because we're definitely going to have those games. But at the same time, we are talking about the Kraken. The Kraken are known for having those games, and many of those games in a season. So I feel like there's definitely that PTSD moment, so to speak, where you're like, oh, it's happening again. It's going to happen. And then you're just kind of seeing if the wheels are going to fall off. But then, normally after you have that like 24 hours where you're like, you decompress the game and you take a look at everything, you're like, no, it's probably a one off. And then usually the next game they come out flying. So hopefully that's exactly what we're going to deal with, because I don't know if it can take another couple more games against like how what we witnessed against the Oilers, because if that's going to be the case, then oh boy, we're in for some fun games moving forward.
Well, and I'll tell you, like, I don't know if it's because it's the shiny new thing, but like the shiny new toy we have, but I felt way different following the 3-0 loss that the Torrent had than the 4-0 loss that the Kraken had. And like, I think I can write some of those things off as like, hey, this is only their second game ever. They're still finding out how things gel and stuff like that. But I felt very different after one game than I did after the other.
Well, being at the Torrent game as well, just to go on a little Torrent side tangent here for a quick second, it did feel like they were playing better than Minnesota, at least like in the first period. I was like, this team's like coming out hot. I don't know if that just kind of fills it out and we just couldn't get score on the chances, but oh, and then one more note on the Kraken side of things. One super intrusive negative thought that I had following the Edmonton game was like the what happened in the Islanders game and the Edmonton game, like within a 3 game span. I don't know if we've done that to two different teams in a 3 game span in recent history or in Kraken history. So that also stings a lot. I want us to like absolutely beat the brakes off a couple teams in a row to set the momentum like back on track.
Well, not to spoil things coming up later, but I'm not sure this next week will be the week that that happens. So fingers crossed, maybe we'll surprise ourselves. Okay, moving on to our more specific topics of discussion. Oh, hold on a sec here. I got the wrong week pulled up. It says here that a Kraken player is out long term with injury. This must be like our episode 42 notes or 43 notes. Nope! Psych! We could basically copy paste that every single week this season that we have lost a player due to injury because we always have to open with our injury update because that is just what's happening this season. Starting off with some good things. Jared McCann and Capo Caco both made their returns to the team this week. Canner gained a point via an assist in the game against the Stars, so that's awesome. But unfortunately, he did lose a tooth in the process very early in the game. If you've seen the picture, I think Sound of Hockey tweeted out a really good picture from the locker room after. Just has like that Jim Carrey chip out of his teeth from Dumb and Dumber. Because of his return, Oscar Fisker Molgard was sent back down to Coachella Valley. So he had his 2 game stop in, sub in, and got a point out of that. So good on him. Hopefully he gets back to things going well with the Firebirds. Kako had 16 minutes of ice time in the game against the Oilers. That's the one that he came in, and he only had 1 shot on goal in that game. So not the big kick in the doors return that we were maybe hoping for. And then the bad news is that in the Stars game, our top goal scorer, Jaden Schwartz, went down during a net front play and has been placed on the IR for 6 weeks with a lower body injury. Just again, we've talked about it, just the revolving door of injuries on this team. One guy comes in, one guy goes out. Maybe at some point we'll be able to have a full, complete roster on this team. And when we do, I'm sure that's when things will start turning around in our favor. But how are you guys dealing with the injury rotation this week?
Same old song and dance. It seems like for the Kraken this year, we're gonna have one of our top players go down, and we're gonna have another player come in. I think with both McCann and Kako being back in the lineup, it's a positive. But losing Schwartz for 6 weeks is such a blow. Like when you look at this team on paper, if we were like had a fully healthy lineup, we're deep. Like the depth of this team is insane. We're all, they're all middle six guys, but if you have 4 lines of middle six guys, that's strong. That's a strong team because you can put any line out at any time and they're going to contribute. But it's just been a blow with guys being injured. Then you guys got guys coming back. They're still not 100%. So it's just like you just can't catch a break. And it honestly looked like the Schwartz injury was such just rotten luck. Like it looked like he just fell over and then hunched down, and that was the end of it. And so it's just like, you just kind of wonder what we need to do in order to have, none of our players get hurt, especially in freaking incidents, because I don't know, at this point, it just seems like every week there's a new injury. And like you mentioned, it's just copy and paste at this point. But if I'm OFM, he's going to be the kill flurry of this season, on the plane, off the plane, on the plane, off the plane, because forward depth, we're getting it. It seems like a guy's getting injured every week. And if he's going to be that next guy called up, he's going to be playing, a lot more games, but he's going to be going up and down from Coachella to Seattle a lot.
Yeah, exactly what Alex was saying with the roster composition. It's definitely a lineup that you need everyone there for. When there aren't guys there, we don't really have guys to relieve the pressure from everybody else. It's kind of like every person has to be going 100%. And when you're missing pieces of that, now guys are having to go 105 and 110%. So that might be contributing to all of the revolving door of injuries. Obviously, it's great to have McCann back, but with Schwartz gone, a couple things like he is the top points guy, but it's with like 15 points, and we have a ton of guys with like 14 or 13. Like Alex was saying, it's a deep team of people who don't have that many points, so you need all of them, especially with how horrendous the offense has been. You need guys like Schwartz, guys that are able to finish, guys that do generate a lot of expected goals. Um, and yes, subbing McCann for Schwartz, you are net benefiting in theory. But with Schwartz back, it's just like the offense needs a kickstart, and we're just like drowning trying to like tread water right now, and just can't come up for air with the injury woes. So hopefully Kako turns into a contributor. I honestly didn't realize he was back in the lineup until I was talking to one of my ice crew guys, and I was like, "Oh, Kako's out," and he's like, "Oh no, he's back in." I'm like, "Oh, okay, never mind." But yeah, so hopefully he contributes, and McCann pops off again. But yeah,
Yeah, hopefully soon all will be right in the world and the gears start turning and we get the results that we are hoping for and kind of expect that we're able to get. Spinoramas, Michigan goals, a sprawling save across the crease. Live and breathe all the highlight moments with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. New customers bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN, that's code THPN, to turn $5 into $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, pass-through of per-wager tax may apply in Illinois. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gambling resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer. Copyright NHL 2025. All rights reserved. Another thing we like to check in on is our goalie updates. It's very one-sided this week because Joey played in both of the games this week. In Wednesday's game against the Stars, he allowed 3 goals on 24 shots for an .857 save percentage. And then against the Oilers, as we mentioned, he gave up 4 goals on 25, which is an .840. Not the best showing this week. Derek, I'm going to assume as stats man, you have ways of breaking this down of what all happened.
not necessarily of this week. I just have things that are kind of still trends over the season. But a quick note on Decourt's performance. In the Stars game, I think the first goal was like a deflection from like 15 feet out. It was kind of an unlucky bounce. There was another one where like Adam Larson screened him, I think. So the Stars game, not super blaming him. I think there might have been a couple weak ones in the Edmonton game. Um, but to be honest, when you're not getting goals and swinging the momentum one way, it can just kind of bog you down and just turn into a mountain. I do have those season stats if you want me to break that down. Okay, cool. So to revisit our little save percentage and goals saved above expected per 60 game that we've been playing the last couple weeks, Matt Murray is still he's 6th in save percentage on shots on goal with a 922 save percentage. Philip Grubauer has a 912 and he's 17th, and Joey Decourt has a 902 and is 27th. So our goalies are still in the top 32. For goals saved above expected per 60, Matt Murray is obviously still at the 1.217. Instead of first, now he's second. And Philip Grubauer, 0.563 goals saved above expected per 60. He's at 24th in the league. And Joey Decourt is at 0.128 goals saved above expected per 60. So 38th in the league. For context, last year, Joey Decourt did not spend much time outside of the top 5. And I don't think spent any time outside of the top 10 in these statistics last year.
I think you kind of mentioned it though. If you don't have any offense, you can't really do much. Like, and that's been like a consistent thing this season is we do not have a solid offense. So like you are relying on your goaltender and your defense a lot more. So like they're bound to have they're going to be bound to have bad games at this point. Like all 3 of our goaltenders because If they're not getting the offense, it's going to be much more of a negative impact on the defensive side of things.
I definitely, if we look at the guys we have, I'm always pro Joey going in, but I think we got to give him a rest, hang it up, get Groovy in there at least for one game, just to break up the monotony of things and maybe try to just shake things up a little bit. I
I
know
think
there
Grubar's
was
only played like 6 games still. Yeah.
yeah, and there was a longer gap between games this week because of Thanksgiving, so Joey got a little extra rest time, but we don't need to be running him into the ground like we've done before. Gru has really solid standing or results so far. So if we keep that going, maybe he can keep powering through and kind of get to the form that we hope for. Speaking of the offense, we're going to focus on a specific part of the offense now. And here at Beneath the Waves, we are always big fans of PP time in the fun room, of our power play and how they go. But we did not have that big PP energy this week. It was abysmal. It was very flaccid, for lack of a better term. One of the biggest absolute areas of concern for the Kraken is how ineffective they were on the power play. The Kraken went 0 for 5 against the Stars and 0 for 6 against the Oilers, including in that Oilers game, almost 2 full minutes of 5-on-3 time, which that, oh man, I'm sure people were pulling their hair out in the stands because I know I was on the couch. Derek, I'm not sure what it was like in the arena, but this had to have been particularly maddening this week, at least for me when I was watching at home.
Yeah, for sure. And just to kind of go over the entire offense that game, obviously we posted 0 goals. We generated a little over 3 expected goals that game. Notably, the people who were generating the most, 3 names: Berkeley Catton, Matty Beniers, and Jared McCann. I don't know if you guys remember, but Berkeley Catton had that breakaway on Skinner and had him dead to rights. Just needed to elevate the puck, I think like 6 inches, and it would have gone over that pad and gone in the net. I'm sure he was like absolutely kicking himself because that was such a nice look that he generated himself. Just couldn't get the finishing touch on it. It's been something we've talked about a ton. The finishing problem. That is our problem. It's a finishing problem. That game, we generated 3 expected goals worth of like high quality shots. So a ton of shots that other teams would be capitalizing on. Skinner's not a phenomenal goalie. Sometimes he plays like one, but he wasn't playing phenomenally. It's just that a lot of our shots were going like right into his chest. And that's kind of been the theme. So like that, we need our guys to be scoring goals above expected, which is what happened in the 2022-2023 season. Almost all of our guys were scoring goals over expected. And this is where I have crazy stats if you're ready.
Buckle
Okay.
up.
So these are not power play stats, but they are offensive stats, okay? There's 463 forwards who have played at least 50 minutes of ice time this year, okay? Jordan Eberle has negative 2.7 goals scored above expected, and he ranks 413th out of those 467 forwards in this stat. Matty Beniers has scored negative 3.4 goals above expected, and he is 440th out of 463 forwards. So these guys are getting looks. They're getting the right looks. They're generating the right plays. They're making the right passes, and they're getting the right shots. And we know Jordan Eberle. We know Matty Beniers, okay? These guys they're not cones that don't know how to shoot. This is literally something that I do not think is sustainable. And I think this is why it's a good indicator that our offense will take a step up. I don't think it's sustainable for Matty Beniers to be shooting like the 440th out of 463 forwards. And I don't think it's sustainable for Eberle either. But this is kind of the theme. A lot of our forwards are doing this. And I don't know why. I don't know why in the playoff year it seemed like everyone was going above, and this year everyone's going below. But a good news, good bit out of that is that our offensive structure is doing good. We're generating the expected goals. It's just that that finishing touch, getting the puck in the net instead of smack dab on the goalie's body is the real issue here.
Do you think it's just puck luck at this point? Like, you really have to think about it being like, this team isn't that bad offensively. Like, we've seen most of these guys put up 20, 30, 30 goals in the past, whether that be on this team or a different team. Like, it just, at some point, you're like, okay, yeah, we are focusing more on a defensive side of a game. But this team isn't this bad. And you're hoping that something clicks eventually because like this just can't go on for the rest of the season. If it does, then I just yeah, like I'm just hoping that at some point something clicks or someone takes off because like we don't have anyone that's scored even close to 10 goals. Like we got Shane Wright who's got like what 4 or 5 goals. I think who's our highest goal scorer? Is it
Schwartz and Ebbs.
Schwartz and
I
Ebbs
think
with what
do they
seven
have 8?
apiece?
They're both at 8.
They're both
Yeah.
at 8. So like something's got to give.
Yeah,
Like you look at
Ebbs could realistically by this stat be at 11 easily,
yeah,
and if he was scoring above expected, like in the playoffs, he could be like 14. Same with Beniers, he could be around like 7 or 8 right now, if he was just scoring what he was expected to score. And that's exactly what I'm saying, Alex, is that like these guys are not bottom of the barrel forwards. These are our best forwards, honestly. Eberle and Beniers are two of our best forwards, in terms of scoring. So I don't think it's sustainable either. I think it might be puck luck.
but you also have to look at it like our top point producing player is Schwartz with 15 points. Like our top player has 15 points. Like something's got to give because like this just can't go on. Like I know like over the last couple of years like we've struggled offensively and like some of the seasons were like oh yeah our best player finished with 50 points. But we're nearing on like what? We're past a quarter of the season and our top player has 15 points on the season.
What's going to be really concerning is when he comes back in 5 weeks and he's still the top
That,
point
yeah,
earner
the
on this
thought
team.
has crossed my mind because you got Jordan Eberle and Beniers tied at 14 points apiece, and then you got Montour and Dunn. Like the fact when you look at who our top 5 players are, Schwartz, who is a veteran with 15 points, Eberle, who is a veteran with 14 points, you got Beniers with 14 points, and then you got your 2 defensemen in Montour and Dunn. Like to me that's shocking. Like it is kind of crazy to see like you have so much talent on this team or at least like that middle 6 talent that should be putting up points and virtually they're just not there. Like and I think a lot of us are saying like okay like you've paid the money, you've done the trades, like yeah sure we've dealt with a lot of injuries but at the same time like someone's got to step up. Someone's got to take over and say, this is my team. I'm the captain now. Not literally and take it off of Eberle's shirt, but like be like, this is my team. I'm going to take advantage and be that scoring presence. And not a single player has taken that opportunity yet. Like, hope to God it's Jared McCann. I know he's still not 100%, but at this
Yeah, it's
point,
got to be McCann.
like it has to be McCann because if not, like nobody's been willing to take it.
Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. Hopefully there's a point where like the floodgates burst open and everyone just starts clicking and hits their stride. And suddenly we become an offensive juggernaut. We can just cross our fingers at this point and hope. Couple milestones to mention this week. Brandon Montour and Chandler Stevenson both surpassed their 100th game mark as members of the Seattle Kraken. Quick little update on how they've been doing. In 101 games played, Monty has recorded 23 goals and 31 assists. In 102 games played, Stevie has 17 goals and 46 assists. Again, those are just their numbers with the Kraken. Now that we have hit that 100-game mark, what's our assessment of these two guys? Was it worth it cutting those checks? Put on your Dom L hats and say, was it worth it cutting those contracts?
Okay, I don't know who does this, so I'm sorry to whoever does it because I'm sure it's a ton of hard work and stuff compiling all of this, but there's this account on Twitter and they basically define superstar caliber for like forwards and defensemen based on points per game. This would have Montour at about like 0.5 or more points per game, and the cutoff for defenseman is like 0.25 points per game. So he's like in the superstar tier. Steven for forwards, it's like 0 0.7 points per game, and I don't think Steven's even there. He's at like 0.63, I think, points per game or something. So he's not there. Just to contextualize like the points differential between a defenseman and a forward. Because I was talking to Matt earlier, and I was just saying it was funny that like through the same amount of games, Stevenson and Montour are like the same amount of points, and one's a defenseman and one's supposed to be like a super primo forward. Stevenson obviously serves a role that isn't gathering points, and it's like eating a ton of minutes against top line opposition. People have said that he's not the greatest at that either. So I don't know if that necessarily bodes well for his value. But he is someone that we can put out there. You know, he is better than average, I would say, and he can be put out there and do stuff. He's got a lot of assists for us in big moments. Um,
Empty
and
calorie assists though.
empty calorie assists. And his controller dies during the shootout sometimes, but yeah.
When I look at these two guys, Montour I still think is a great signing. Not only does he produce on the ice, but he is a team leader on it and off of it. So just that alone, um, the contract isn't bad in my opinion, even in year two. I'm not even looking at this like down the line because with the cap rising over the next couple of years, I'm not worried about it whatsoever. It's all the extra things that Brandon Montour has and delivers that just proves that that's a great contract. When it comes to Stevenson, there's a lot of people that are criticizing it, saying, yeah, well, he's not, for the amount of money that you're paying him, this is what he should be producing more. At this point, I'm not too concerned. He's making 6.25 million. The cap is going to be well over 100 million, come year 4 or 5 of his contract. I'm not concerned. He's going to be a great third line center in a couple of years, hopefully, when, Wright and Beniers hopefully take over, even Catton at this point. So yeah, like if he can continue to deliver these types of numbers for, even 2/3 of his contract, I'm not going to worry about it because that's exactly what you need in a third or even a fourth line center who's going to be aging down the line.
Yeah, I didn't know that, zero point 0.5 or 0.25 for defensemen and zero point 0.7 for forwards was a thing, and that's an interesting benchmark to know. I definitely do think that by those standards, well, I don't think like it's numbers are there that Monty is. I mean, it's like the numbers are there for a reason. Monty is hitting that superstar status, and I think for our team, not only is that superstar status on the score sheet, but he has a real like identity of this team to him, and he's become a fan favorite and is awesome. Chandler Stevenson, not so much. There's not too many people that are psyched on him, but empty calories are still well, I guess they wouldn't be calories if they're empty, but he's like he has a job that he serves. He kind of falls in that serviceable range that we say out there sometime. And do you want someone serviceable for $6.25 million or whatever it is? Probably not. You want a little above that, but we'll see. We'll see. We got a whole team of mid, so maybe he can have some of that two-time cup winning experience to help bring our guys up. We'll just have to wait and see.
The best TV comes in many forms, from real-life mysteries to blockbuster dramas, family favorites, and buzzworthy reality shows. Philo makes it easy to stream them all with one simple, affordable subscription. For just $33 a month, Philo offers more than 70 live channels, including favorites like AMC, A&E, MTV, Discovery, and Nickelodeon, plus on-demand TV like the entire AMC Plus library. Whatever the mood, there's always something new to uncover. Philo subscribers also get access to HBO Max Basic with ads and Discovery Plus at no extra cost, along with unlimited DVR that saves shows for up to a year. No long contracts, no complicated setup, just endless entertainment ready to stream anytime. Ready for a better way to bundle all the TV you love? Get started at philo.tv. That's PHILO.tv. Your next obsession is waiting.
Lastly here, this was a pretty bummer week in Krakenland. So I would like from each of us to pull at least 1 point of positivity. Please, I beg of you, give us something positive that is Kraken related that you feel good about. Just a simple, singular ray of sunshine peeking through the clouds.
Yeah, I mean, you don't even need to go any further from what we've been talking about already. I have 3 off the top right now. McCann is back. That's a huge thing. We've been talking about for weeks that was the one thing we needed. McCann back for like the last 3 or whatever, 10 million weeks. I don't know. I just ad nauseum. It's every single podcast, so I have no idea. It's like a purgatory of just begging for McCann to come back. Second one, the playoff odds, still above 50%. We're at Thanksgiving, past Thanksgiving. That's huge dub. Like I was talking about earlier, middle of the pack team, huge W to look at. And then the last one I have, lowest amount of goals allowed in the league. That is not something to just say, oh, that's one of the things. No, that's actually insane. It's actually insane that out of 32 NHL teams, we have the least amount of goals allowed out of all of them. Yeah, we also have the least amount of goals scored. But, this is the positives section, okay?
So Derek took every single one of mine that I was going to bring up. So I just want to echo exactly what Derek said. McCann's back, Kako's back. So that's positive right there. We are above 50% for the playoff race. We would not have seen that at all last season or the year prior to that. So take that as an incredible positive thing to look at, especially when you do look at like the historic aspect of where teams stand after Thanksgiving and where they finish out the season. There's a very high chance of making the playoffs if you are in a playoff spot post Thanksgiving. So that's a positive. And yeah, we can't score, but we can defend like hell. So, if we can keep doing that, I'm not going to complain. As long as we figure out the goal scoring, yeah, just keep doing what you're doing.
Okay, so I'll diversify our responses since you two just piggybacked on each other. Um, the, well, jump on the mic faster, show some assertiveness, get in there right away. Don't let Derek walk all over you.
Being Canadian.
Okay, well, fair. It's in our DNA.
Yeah, sorry.
My thing is, even though we were getting absolutely pumped by the Edmonton Oilers 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, 4-0, we showed a little feistiness. And that came in the form of Freddie Gaudreau getting ragdolled, but he's still engaged a little bit. That came in the form of Ty Cartier throwing knuckles in a fight, and that one was much more feisty. That was like a pulling back and forth, swinging some punches. I think he ended up winning that fight. I think, if my memory is correct, he ended up on top and took
Oh
the
yeah,
guy
he did.
down.
Yeah,
Oh,
he
yeah.
won that one.
And when I think of Ty Cartier, he seems like just a little dude, and he's out there swinging against the big boys, and I loved that. Someone had a tweet about this. Mason Marchment went full menace mode throughout the game, and there was like one big hit he had against Darnell Nurse, and he was trying to bring him into a fight, and he just kind of like chuckled and skated on by, and he did that a couple more times. And eventually it just played itself out when we were down 4-0, and he was like, I'm just pushing your buttons. I'm not gonna do anything. And we're like, okay, man, maybe like when we're down 4 goals, that's when you start doing something and, you know, stop just peacocking and actually do something. But I don't know. I had a couple good chuckles from him early in the game. It just kind of wore off as the game went on. But a little physicality we always like on this team, because that's definitely something that has not been a part of our identity. And before we wrap up our final section on the Kraken here, we didn't have this segment last week because it was a road trip, but we had 2 games at home, so it is time for Shovel Stories with Derek. Derek, what do we have? You actually had 3
Third
games
game. Yep.
that
Yes,
you were
sir.
in CPA this week.
Yes, sir. So I actually also worked the inaugural home game for the Torrent. I'll start with that. Like I said earlier, super fun atmosphere, super loud. We got to assist with player introductions. So standing like 5 feet away from like the entire team as they walked out, it was pretty insane. A lot of their energy is really cool. They had a lot of cool personalities. They were having fun, having a ton of fun, making a ton of jokes and stuff like that. So that was cool to see. With the NHL players, it seems more just like very business, but it seemed like they were having a really good time, which is awesome to see. And then, yeah, working that game, we used a 7-person crew instead of an 11-person crew. So I was covering like an entire like quadrant of the ice, just spamming circles the entire time in that corner and doing a lot of skating. It was a really good workout. On the Kraken side of things, it was pretty much standard. The 4-0 game was pretty rough, but we did get to hand out the gravy boats against the
Ooh.
Stars. So the Icebreakers, the ice crew that I'm on, we actually also do giveaways whenever there's bobbleheads or anything like that. We hand out things to the fans. So that was really fun. Everyone was obsessed with these gravy boats. Everyone wanted one. They went super fast. I think there were 10,000 of them that we handed out as people were walking in. And there's a really funny story of someone who got a gravy boat and they grabbed it and they looked at it and they're like, they opened it up and they're like, gravy boat for one. Like because of how small it was. So I was like, yeah, everyone gets one. Like, what are you talking about? But it was a little Zamboni, so it was pretty cool. And then another person was asking if they can use it for other stuff that isn't gravy, and we were like, yeah, you can.
You can use it for whatever your imagination drums up.
Literally on the side of the box, it had like 12 different uses for it. You know, you could put butter in it. You could put you could do whatever you want.
Okay,
So, yes.
quick, name 12 things you can put in your gravy boat. Butter,
Coffee.
gravy, queso, coffee, soft
Water.
drinks,
Water.
water.
Yeah.
I'm tapped out at 6.
It reminds me of one time we were handing out the Maddy Beniers bobbleheads, and I handed it out to a fan, and his girlfriend was like, "Who's that?" And he's like, "Oh, it's Ben Ye." And
The
and
donut man
like,
himself.
I was just like, no. But no, fun week of shoveling. It's always super fun. Yeah.
All right, awesome. And we do have one more home game this week coming up. Alex, where is that going to fall on our schedule?
Oh, well, this week we have 2 games ahead. We don't play till Thursday, and we are in Edmonton for that. So don't have to worry about a game Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Thursday's your first game back. And then we face off against the Red Wings back at home on Saturday. So get a little bit of relaxation this week. You know, hopefully everybody, who's injured on this team can figure it out and get better, minus, Schwartzy, because he's got a couple weeks left. But, hopefully at this point, bubble wrap anybody that you think might be injured, because we desperately need them to get better so we can get this offense going. With 2 games on the docket coming up, what do you think the record's going to be? I think we're going to go 1-1. I think we're going to lose against the Oilers, even though they have a horrible goaltending situation. I don't think we're going to be able to figure that out, but I do think we're going to find a way past the Red Wings.
I think we're going 1-1. I think we drop to the Oilers and we overtime drop to the Red Wings.
Wait, am I tripping? Did you say it was Saturday against or at home against Red Wings? I only heard the Oilers won. Or am I tripping?
I thought he said it.
Okay, never mind.
If not, we're Saturday hosting the Red Wings.
Okay. Yeah, you could just clip that in if that's okay. That'll be fun. Okay. I'm gonna go with my past theme of 2-0 against these teams because we desperately need it. And I don't want it to be fluky. I'm not just saying like, oh, I want the points at all costs, but like I want us to beat the brakes off these teams, especially the Oilers, okay? Quick revenge game. 4-0 right back to them. No, make it 5-0. 5-0. And then win 5-0 at home against the Red Wings so we can get the Alaska Airlines 32% off.
Hell yeah. I will say as well that Wednesday evening the Torrent are hosting the New York Sirens. So there is 2 out of 3 Seattle-based hockey games being played in Seattle. So if you're going to the Torrent game, hopefully we have a better result. Right now, New York is 3 games played, 2 wins and 1 loss.
Oh, Lord.
So we'll see how things go for us. Hopefully we're able to bounce back and have a stronger showing. Those jitters are out of there. And Derek, if you're shoveling, hopefully you have a good time shoveling and it becomes less physically taxing since you only have 7 people. How many people do you typically have for the Kraken ones?
11. We have 10. We have 10 skaters and 1 person on a bucket. And this one we had 6 skaters and 1 person on a bucket.
Oof. As someone who can't even skate, that sounds miserable. So good on you. We are going to also quickly do a check-in on Coachella Valley. Alex, where do things currently stand with the Firebirds?
So down in the desert, the Firebirds have moved into 5th spot in the Pacific Division with a record of 9-6-3. So we've actually gone up. So positive there. Yager Furcus continues to sit at top of the leaderboard with 9 goals and 11 assists. Doing incredible, with the Firebirds this season so far. They do have 3 games in their schedule this week. So on Wednesday, they will face off against the Texas Stars. And then they have 2 games in Abbotsford on Saturday and Sunday against the Canucks.
All right, sweet. So we'll see how the baby squids do as that week comes along. And that'll do it for us over here at the BTW podcast. Derek, as we get out of here, can you let everyone know where they can find more of our stuff online?
Absolutely, man. But before I do that, make sure to go over to bit.ly/BTW store to go check out all of the cool and fun designs that Matt has concocted while high on allergy medicine, and I have designed on Photoshop. Got a ton of cool designs over there. The most recent one is actually a Seattle Torrent special for Hillary Knight, an HK21 design. Go over and get it on your merchandise of choice.
I'm going to say as well, I'm going to quickly interject on the Seattle Torrent and on Photoshop and your ideas. Big shout out to Derek for our game day graphic for the Seattle Torrent. Lots of awesome feedback on that, lots of shares. So thank you for everyone who shared those. He puts in a lot of work finding all these different parts, putting them together. We're not whipping up AI graphics and things like that.
No.
We are putting in, or not, I say we, Derek is putting in the effort because my best efforts are done on Snapchat and Microsoft Paint 3D, and my draft that
wonderful.
My draft that I sent to him wasn't good, so he pulled out a way better graphic there. So kudos to you, Derek. Thanks for doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. No worries. I couldn't do it without the Snapchat template to go off of. So anyways, go over and read Heather's articles. You can find the link in the show notes as always. And you can follow at Heather Nicole with no E and at the Hockey News W to see more of her work. And keep your eyes on your podcast feed to... Hold on. Let me redo that. And keep your eyes on our podcast feed to see when she drops more PWHL episodes. Please also drop a follow and a 5-star review on the podcast app of your choice that you're currently listening to this on. And follow us on all socials. It helps us out a whole lot if you could take a second to like or comment on those videos. And I just wanted to say that if you dozed off and you weren't listening to anything we had to say, the Kraken are still average. That's about all there is to say. But to stay up to date with the team, go over and follow us at BTWSCA. All right, that's it. See you next week. Bye.
We going beneath the waves. Going beneath the waves.
The best TV comes in many forms, from real-life mysteries to blockbuster dramas, family favorites, and buzzworthy reality shows. Philo makes it easy to stream them all with one simple, affordable subscription. For just $33 a month, Philo offers more than 70 live channels, including favorites like AMC, A&E, MTV, Discovery, and Nickelodeon, plus on-demand TV like the entire AMC Plus library. Whatever the mood, there's always something new to uncover. Philo subscribers also get access to HBO Max Basic with ads and Discovery Plus at no extra cost, along with unlimited DVR that saves shows for up to a year. No long contracts, no complicated setup, just endless entertainment ready to stream anytime. Ready for a better way to bundle all the TV you love? Get started at philo.tv. That's PHILO.tv. Your next obsession is waiting.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.